for details. Local community radio in the public interest. You're listening to WFPR-LP, Franklin on 102.9 FM. You can listen online at WFPR.FM. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is Frank Falvey with Frank's Music. Jim Derrick, our co-host and able engineer. How you doing, Jim? Have you been influenced at all by any hurricanes lately? Did Teddy upset you?
Hurricane season always disturbs.
Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting for September 29th. We are here in Town Council chambers. You're also welcome to participate via Zoom. We'll continue to operate in a hybrid format for as long as we are able to do so. If you'd like to participate via Zoom, you go to the Zoom application. The meeting number is 819-9511-0051. You can also dial in over the phone at 929-205-6099. And again, the meeting number is 819-9511-0051. Welcome to participate in person in council chambers or remotely. So before getting started this evening, we'll take a roll of who we have with us tonight from the commission. I'm Pat Gallagher, the chair.
Jeff Milne, present, sir.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
Bill Batchelor.
Bill.
Michael Ryan.
Hey, Michael. And Richard.
Richard Johnson.
Great. So we have a quorum for this evening. The first and only public hearing on the agenda is for the Beaver Street Interceptor project. You can pick your microphone.
Get signage.
Yep.
Hi, good evening, Doug Martin, Water and Sewer Superintendent.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Good.
Amy Anderson, Arcadis.
Hi, Amy, how are you?
How you doing? Good.
Great.
Since last meeting, Amy has prepared some just official responses to a couple outstanding items
Okay.
that were remaining. I don't know if you want to go for those.
Sure. So I believe you guys were given a copy of this letter. There were some questions that were asked at the last meeting. One of them was specifically related to whether or not we looked at any different routing options, which we did. So I went back and looked through some of the different things we had done, and it really boils down to just the elevation of the gravity sewer. We would need multiple pump stations throughout the entire town. It was absolutely not feasible. So that just answered that question.
Okay.
A couple of the other items were, one of them was our stance on whether or not we needed a 401 WQC, water quality certification. It is our stance we do not. A majority of our work is being done in the town maintained easement, and the permanent impacts are less than that 5,000 threshold.
Okay.
Other open items were the Conservation Commission was looking for a little bit more clarity on where we were doing stump removal. So we changed some of our language in our standard specifications, making it clearly defined what's considered easement clearing versus what's considered grubbing. And they're only allowed to do stump removal in areas where they're doing excavation, where excavation is required. Otherwise, they're not allowed to remove any stumps if they're clearing just for construction access.
Okay, great.
And then we provided a little bit more detail on the culvert, just to say that we're in conformance with the Massachusetts stream crossing standards. So we detailed that in that letter as well. And then the last and final item was that we did send a revised WPA memo form 3 to DEP, and I did copy BRECA on that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amy. BRECA, based on those responses that we got, and I know that Beta had submitted some additional information as well. Did you have any further questions or anything that you consider open right now, or are you comfortable that everything that had been open has been resolved?
I'm comfortable. Yeah.
Great. I know we were expecting someone from Beta here tonight. Would you mind stepping up?
Absolutely.
Great.
A pleasure to meet all you in person. Jonathan Nero, environmental scientist with Beta Group, acting as peer review on this project.
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks
Hi.
for being here.
So I just wanted to give you all a quick, very brief overview of the peer review process, just to sum things up since it has been a few meetings. You know, we had initially started with a field review of all the resource area boundaries that were delineated across the entire project corridor. I walked essentially the entire corridor, checked all the flagging. The boundaries and classifications of resource areas were accurate per the applicant's consultant. So following that field visit and taking a look at both resource area boundaries and existing conditions, we did a more comprehensive regulatory review of the project. And through a few letters back and forth with Arcadis, as well as the agent's review with DPW and Arcadis, there's a few primary sticking points of what we felt were big improvements with the project. You know, the plan set was updated to actually include a pretty comprehensive list of environmental notes front and center of the plan set. Based on my experience working in construction and on these utility projects, that's really big and convenient for the contractor to be able to use, and those note items deal with things from, as was just mentioned, clearing and stumping to dewatering practices, stabilization of disturbed areas, et cetera. And the other big benefit to this project, as was just discussed by the applicant, was the culvert replacement of the tributary to Mine Brook along the, or under the earthen berm off Beaver Street. We had originally seen that in the field and saw it was to be replaced in kind, and the applicant did take a closer look at that and was able to actually come up with a design plan to effectively daylight that crossing. They would essentially put a retaining wall on each side of where the pipe is now, pull out the pipe, reconstruct banks between those retaining walls, and essentially have an open crossing where the sewer pipe can just cross straight over it, similar to a crossing that's actually found about a couple 100 feet down the easement. So all of that, including some, and as well as some additional information submitted by Arcadis on things such as access and impacts, we feel that the applicant has provided, you know, sufficient information at this point for the commission to be able to deliberate and render their decision. And if you have any specific questions on the project, I would be more than happy to answer.
Great. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
So I think at this point we'll go to the commissioners, and if anyone has any questions, and afterwards we have draft conditions and can go through those. But I think before getting to the draft conditions, wanted to see if anyone has any questions. Jeff?
Mr. Chairman, Jeff Millen, no questions.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Bill?
Absolutely no questions.
Thank you.
Michael Ryan, no questions.
Richard, do you have any questions?
Johnson, no questions.
Okay, great. Brika, would you mind running through the draft conditions that you had prepared for us?
Yes. I would not mind, or no, I would not mind.
Thank you.
So I have a list of our standard special conditions. I will state the number and then just the brief general description, the header. So number 20, erosion control barriers. 21, extra siltation barriers. 22, as-built plan. 24, work performed according to plan. 25, referencing order of conditions. 26, provision of plans and order of conditions. 27, approved changes. 28, notification prior to work. 29, right to impose additional conditions. 30, errata as changes. 34, no straw bales. 35, stockpile maintenance. 37, remedy upon problem identification. 38, barriers as limit of work. 39, limit of work marked. 40, no construction materials. 41, inspections and disposal of sediment. 44, removal of barriers. 45, dewatering plan. 46, stockpile location. 47, removal of sediment. 48, no refueling. 49, emergency repairs. 50, leaks and spills. 51, building permit sign off. And then there are a handful of additional conditions added. 52, the boundaries of the wetland resource areas as depicted on the plans of record are approved for this filing only. 53, mitigation planting plan. It is similar to standard special condition 19, that if the project involves detention basins, drainage swales, or other significant drainage structures prior to the first pre-construction meeting, the applicant shall submit a mitigation planting plan to the Conservation Department and Commission for review and approval under general business. The mitigation planting plan shall use low shrub and tree species from the Franklin Best Development Practices Guidebook, specific for wildlife habitat to be planted near the detention basins and altered swale. Excuse me. 54, notification prior to culvert install. The applicant shall notify the Conservation Department and Commission at least 72 hours in advance of commencing work associated with the replacement of the culvert depicted on sheet C27. 55, all wetland resource area flagging within 100 feet of the proposed work must be reestablished in the field by survey prior to the start of construction. The location of the flagging must be approved by the conservation agent. 56, the applicant shall submit a site-specific access temporary crossing plan for the stream crossing depicted on sheet C28 of the plans of record to the Conservation Department and Commission prior to the start of construction. 57, all stockpiles consisting of erodible materials located within wetland resource areas shall be surrounded with biodegradable compost stocks for the duration of work. Thank you.
Doug, Amy, any questions or concerns with those conditions, or does that sound doable?
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Any questions on the conditions as proposed?
Jeff Milne, none.
Absolutely no.
Ryan, no questions.
Richard?
Johnson, no.
The only, I guess, question I had and wanted to get your thoughts, Brika, is for 55, which deals with the flagging and how that needs to be approved by the agent. I mean, I almost would think of that as kind of the equivalent of, you know, someone coming in for a fresh delineation that would need our approval. So my preference would be for that to need our approval as well.
Sure.
And the same as 53, that it would just be, you know, kind of through our general business.
Sure.
But would like to have, just be able to review and sign off on that before that's finalized.
Yes.
But I didn't have any other comments. This is a public hearing. Do any members of the public, either here tonight or on Zoom, have any questions or comments on the project? Okay, hearing none. Take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
And a second?
Jeff Milne, seconds.
Okay, Michael?
Vote to close.
Okay, Richard?
Vote to close.
Jeff?
Vote to close.
Bill?
Vote to close.
And Pat Gallagher, I vote to close as well. Now, Jeff, a motion to approve with conditions as stated?
Mr. Chairman, Jeff Milne, I present a motion to approve the NOI for the Beaver Street Interceptor with the, as stated.
Second.
Okay, Michael?
Vote to approve.
Richard?
Vote to approve.
Jeff?
Vote to approve.
Bill?
Approve.
And Pat Gallagher, I vote to approve as well. Thanks very much, guys. That wraps up our public hearings for this evening. So I believe, it looks like, Brika, the only other item we have on the agenda tonight is an administrative approval.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that?
Sure. So this was a deck install just on the upper boundary of the 2,200-foot riverfront area. So it's an in-kind replacement for larger footing, similar to the one that you saw in the last hearing. So it is merely to bring the deck up to building code. It is less than 150 square feet of disturbance, so I approved it administratively, and I'm looking for it to be ratified.
Great. Any questions by the commission?
Jeff Milne, none.
Absolutely none.
No questions.
Richard, any questions? You good?
None.
Okay. May I have a motion to ratify?
Motion to approve the administrative approval.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Mike?
Vote to approve.
Richard?
Vote to approve.
Jeff?
Vote to approve.
Bill?
Vote to approve.
And I vote to approve as well.
That was it.
Thank you, Brika. I think we are just about at a new record. So just the other discussion item to bring up as we talked about before going live, we do have a new commissioner joining us at the next hearing, Meg Hagan. She is a teacher at Franklin Children's School. Her background is as a pharmacist. And so while she doesn't have a wetland scientist background, she has a scientist background, and we welcome scientists on the Commission. So
Great,
she should
great.
be joining us hopefully for our next meeting.
When did she go before council?
Last night,
Oh, last night, so
Yep.
that was wrapped up.
yes.
Perfect.
So she just needs to be sworn in, and we're ready to roll.
Excellent.
Great. Well, any other, I guess one other item to note, this weekend for the Harvest Fest, we will be there, although it's looking rainy on Saturday, I think, so we'll see.
Supposed to be really rainy.
But on Sunday, I'll be there, and if anyone is in the neighborhood, would welcome the company.
You take my hockey duties, I'll go to the.
Where's our table? Do you know?
Do you know, we need to, I actually don't know where, do you have it?
Meg, or not Meg's.
Mel,
Looking at her,
right.
Mel's table?
Do they have a map up? Do we know where she?
No, but I can find it for you.
Okay, we can.
I'll be missing it. I'll be in hockey in Acton and then hockey in Canton.
Good for you.
Yeah.
True sport of
it's
the
gonna be
North.
cold.
You'll be wishing you were out with us.
I do.
So we'll be there either Saturday or Sunday, and then we have our Delcart Fall Gathering on Saturday, the 22nd.
Correct.
Rain or shine.
Rika, I copied you on something. Did you get it?
I did, thanks,
Good.
Bill.
That will get some activity.
Okay. So, and that's, should be great as well. And do you want to give an update, Brick, on Delcart and
Sure, stuff.
and happenings?
Yeah, so as I mentioned to a few of you, today the trees at Delcart were put in. So if you go by, you will see them planted. They look marvelous. We did grub the area for the turtle nesting habitat already, so you may see that. Don't be shocked, that was planned. The fence install is proposed for next week. We're still waiting to hear back from the contractor. But once that's in, we'll be able to scar the earth, remove vegetation. Again, don't be shocked because we're replanting around it. We did seed the lawn area as well with a conservation wildlife mix. So that's getting put in. Other fun Delcart news, I had mentioned applying for the forest stewardship program through DCR. Sent in the application and that was approved same day by DCR from our forester. So he will be the same forester that will be at the Delcart event. So make sure you speak with him. And he will actually be meeting me next Monday at Delcart to go for a walk. He hasn't been there yet, so since he's going to be hosting a woods walk at Delcart, he wanted to walk the site, and then it'd be good PR and a great way to pick his brain on what he thinks Delcart could be, what it already is, and potential avenues for that. Yeah, Delcart event, and then we're also at Touch a Truck.
And that's on the 15th?
On the 15th.
Okay, great.
Yes. Oh, and you may see webpage updates. I got drop downs now on the left-hand side, so permit filings, and then all of our permits are in there. How to report legacy trees, beavers, turtles, and egg masses. It's still in its infancy stage though, so there's not much in there, but there will be.
We're trying to go environmentally friendly and paper-free, and
Yes.
and we now have a QR code, so that
Yes.
makes it easier to get
Yes.
to all those web resources, which is great. So thanks, Brika, for everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think if there is not anything else, we can take a motion to close.
Mr. Chairman, Jeff Millen, give you a motion to close the meeting.
Thanks.
Second.
Michael?
Vote to close.
Richard?
Vote to close.
Okay, I vote to close as well.
Jeff Millen, vote to close.
Bill?
Ditto. Thanks for watching.